Hello and
True.
welcome to the I Love You But podcast. I'm Heather and this is my sister.
Ryan, each week we will revisit relics of our childhoods using our multiple master's degrees
To critically evaluate the crap that consumed our misspent youth. So join us.
sisters, latchkey kids, and lazy feminists as we look back on our past to say, I love you, but.
Icons 8 Music.
I go always. I told you I was going to bring the thunder.
You're bringing something. Hey, what'd you waste time on this week?
Well, I watched all of CB Strike. It's available on HBO Max. So thank you for that, Heather Davis. Finished it today in my effort to send Elliot to the farm so I can get shit done. I was doing things on my computer while I was watching it, so not a whole lot other than that. It was a busy week, so.
What'd your students think about the podcast? What'd they think about the pod?
They haven't listened to it yet. I couldn't get them the link because we didn't have school today. They did teach me something this week. I think that's kind of my favorite thing about being a high school teacher is that I get to feel really old and go, what does that mean?
Oh, that's cool.
Have you heard about e-boys and e-girls?
It sounds
Or
familiar, but I am not.
e-kids?
No, what's e-kids?
So it's basically like if emo, goth, anime, and K-pop had a baby.
Oh, how does goth and K-pop, like those are polar opposites?
So it's like the quirkiness of like K-pop, but in black. I looked it
So
up.
like if Wednesday and her best friend became one, is that Enid? Huh.
I didn't do a huge deep dive into it. I just kind of did some Googles. Because they were like emo, but not like scary like emo. And I was like, emo was scary?
Scary?
Scary? Scary?
Clingy
Y'all
guitars and
you don't know what you're talking
emotions.
I call shenanigans.
I mean,
Stop wearing our clothes.
Even goth isn't scary. Like, what are they talking about?
I did tell one of them that I was goth in high school, and they want me to bring a picture.
Oh, nice. You should just print off a picture of Robert Smith and be like, here, this is me.
That was me. This is me. What did you waste time on this week?
Spent a lot of time working on this little podcast project. I don't know if you've heard about it.
Oh, yeah?
I love you. It's called I Love You But.
Huh, sounds cool.
Found out there's another podcast on Spotify called I Love You But.
Yeah, I found that out too. I wasn't going to tell you. I never asked because I just assumed you'd done your research because you usually do.
I do, and I think that they came up since I came up with that title, like they snuck in. So here's the thing, if you're listening, we just need to have more than 22 reviews, and that will make us the legitimate I Love You But, because they only have 22 as of this recording. So I feel like as long as we can stay ahead in number of reviews, hey, even if you hate us, give us a bad review. It'll still help us be ahead. It's fine. Fine.
I was going to say, do bad reviews count? I will say, I did give us 5 stars.
Good job. I followed us to try to help.
I did that too. Yeah.
And I might have listened to the 3rd episode today as I was driving around.
Yeah. I tried to give us 5 stars, and then Spotify was like, you can't rate this till you actually listen to it.
You robot.
So then I did listen to the 3rd episode, and then I gave it 5 stars.
Good job. It would be great if you were like 2 stars.
I mean, like that time in middle school when I ran for something and I didn't vote for myself because I thought it was wrong. I'm a dumbass.
And then we had a narcissist, crazy person for president and figured out nothing matters. This week mostly I spent a whole lot of time trying to figure out how to launch a podcast. So I don't know if that was a waste of time or not.
That's not like wasting time. Yeah, I mean, it was pretty.
We'll find out.
Yeah.
Because we could just, call each other once a week. We don't have to do all this post-production business. But I do have some show notes from episode 3, Mannequin.
Oh, only episode 3?
The original incel. Yeah, only notes so far. As we get feedback, we may have to go back later and do some corrections. But for now, it doesn't really matter. But I just wanted to clarify that Pygmalion, that myth, is a dude who made a sculpture and fell in love with it. So it's literally Mannequin.
I was like...
And then I think George Bernard Shaw either wrote a play or a novel and somebody else made it a play or something. And his was a little bit more homoerotic, I think, but also more cerebral because it was G.B. Shaw. And then we got My Fair Lady. So it really is My Fair Lady. Like he, quote unquote, falls in love with his creation. It's just the original myth was literally like, make this thing out of clay, and I fall in love with it. So
I made you out of clay.
But that said, I think our commentary still stands that she created him more than he created her.
Yeah, I stand by that.
The other show note I need to give from last week, I stand by my statement that Cormoran Strike is my ideal man, not backing down from that. But I found out that J.K. Rowling writes the CB Strike novels. Now, to be fair, I did notice her name as an EP for the show, but I was like, okay, that's weird, whatever. If you don't know, J.K. Rowling is a TERF. If you don't know what a TERF is, it's a trans-erasing radical feminist, which means she went so hardcore on radical feminism, she turns around and doesn't believe that trans is a thing.
That's like when you used to get so drunk that you would drink yourself back to sober.
It is a little bit like that, except I'm not a crazy billionaire. So let's hope. I think money can corrupt in many, many ways, and this is just a weird, weird corruption for her. I am not downplaying it. I think it's awful, and it really sucks because she is actually good at writing.
Yeah.
And I also want to say, while she's hating trans, you know what? She also hates fat people, which you can tell by reading Harry Potter and or watching CB Strike. He has not let up on that at all. Fuck J.K. Rowling, except she also creates things that are kind of amazing. So I don't know what to do about it. It's complicated. Let's let it be complicated.
It's the woke man's
I don't
burden.
like things that are simple. It is the woke person's burden.
I know. I was trying to make a reference to the white man's burden, but which is probably not.
I don't think we care about that at all.
No, we don't. I think now the white man's burden is being woke and having to deal with that without trying to erase other groups of people.
That's hard. It's hard to be a white man.
It's hard.
We're singing a lot this episode.
I like singing. I can't sing the copyrighted song, so I have to make up my own.
So here's the thing. Mine was short and terrible. Yours was not long, but actually worth talking about. So who do you want to start?
Let's start with yours.
Short and terrible. Here we go.
Let's start with short and terrible, and then we'll end with whatever.
All right. So
yours was a surprise, though, because we didn't say we were going to do this one.
That's correct. So last week we announced that we were going to watch The Electric Grandmother, and then as I was trying to find where to watch it, I realized it was less than an hour long, and we should probably do some supplementary material. So in the spirit of robot people, we watched the first episode, or at least I watched the first episode of Small Wonder. Small Wonder.
Yeah. Here, want to hear something funny?
Sure.
I didn't realize that the two were connected by the robot theme until I started watching Small Wonder. Even though I 100% knew what Small Wonder was about and remembered it.
Please tell me.
It started.
What do you recall?
I was taking notes about what I recalled about Small Wonder, and I went, oh, that tricky bitch. Look at her. Look at her with the intention. So what I wrote down is the song.
Okay.
Robot.
Yep.
Closet.
Okay.
Vicky. Had another kid, boy, parentheses, and red and white dress.
Nice.
That was really all I could remember.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like maybe I remember there was an episode where there was an evil Vicky, but I can't remember.
That sounds about right.
I might be making that up. Yeah.
I remember that it was a show about a robot girl. The end. So, small wonder for those of you who never suffered through it. Ran from 1985.
What I might have accomplished if I didn't keep all of this, like, how do you not have all of this just trifle bullshit just rolling around in your head like I do?
If you knew the amount of song lyrics I have from the 80s and 90s in my head, you would not be whining at me right now.
Like, I teach government, my kids will be like, which amendment, da-da-da, I'm like, I don't know. Like,
well, they didn't write it in a 1980s theme song, so why would you?
I guess. Fuck. Go ahead.
So, for those of you who don't know, Small Wonder is a short form situation comedy. It ran 96 episodes, 1985 to 1989, 4 whole seasons. Trying to do a little bit of background on it. I call it the career killer because everyone who was in it or worked at the top of it never did anything after, or if they did, it was very small and inconsequential.
I feel like that dad was in something else. He had a familiarity about him, no? He didn't really ever do anything?
I mean, he probably did a couple of things after it, but there's not a lot.
Oh,
there's not a whole lot. I don't have much to say. I did go into the comments
because I feel like she was the best actress. And so I was like, I wonder what happened to her. And she's a nurse.
Yep. Yeah. She left the child acting game. She got forced in really young, though. So I don't blame her. Get out of that mess. I looked at the comments on IMDb. And only watched one episode. But apparently there is an episode at one point where the dad enters Vicky, the robot he created, into a spelling bee competition. And evidently it is an international spelling bee competition in English, I guess. And there's a representative from the USSR who's caught cheating. And the dad gives him this great big patriotic lesson about how he should be from America, the land of the free, and people who don't cheat. The dad
who entered the robot into the content. Whoa! That is some Class A American hypocrisy at its finest.
And I did not bother to figure out which episode that is, but I kind of wish we had watched that one instead.
Yeah.
I literally have half a page of notes.
Oh, really?
On this episode. Yeah, that's it.
I have more.
Oh, that's good. Do you want to kick it off? Okay.
Oh my, the opening. Just the credits and the, him sitting and just the 80s, the time stamp of it all.
Sure.
There's another redheaded pest. We really got some stigmatized, like, no wonder no one likes redheads. Like, they were not well represented in 80s media.
I really, evidently, I miss the 80s trope of the annoying redheaded neighbor, and it made me wonder how many there are floating out there. We've encountered 2 in 4 episodes, so that's pretty high. Those are some high odds. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. I wondered if the ginger kid had parents. Apparently that happens in episode 2, so that's good.
I mean, they referenced that her dad works with his dad, Vicky's dad, and that's why I had to keep it a secret.
Yes.
So, like, that whole nosy neighbor keeping a secret had some real Bewitched vibes going on for me.
Yes. Well, the guy who created the show wrote a bunch of classic sitcoms.
Oh, so it really should have been better.
So I think he was trying to kind of revive that with an 80s vibe and this super high concept of, like, what if there was a robot daughter, cousin, whatever.
Yeah.
And then it just did not. He was like, he jumped the shark and made this show. Like, go home, sir. Please go home.
I do love all of the low-key, high-key, whatever version you want to go with, misogyny. That, like, the first thing that the boy kid does is make her clean up after him.
Yeah, that's the part where I wrote, Elliot would love having a robot.
Honestly, she reminded me more of Elliot than the boy kid did, Jamie or whatever the fuck his name was.
In what way does she
maybe because he sometimes pretends to be a robot, and that's a thing he's been doing lately. So maybe it was that, because like when she hit her nose and was like, I'm fine, I could just see Elliot doing that.
Yeah, definitely.
So really just that one way. I would like to get Elliot a pair of Gizmo pajamas.
Those were tight.
That was probably the best thing about this show.
Definitely. That house was brown.
Okay, maybe I don't have that much. I don't know.
They had grapefruit for their anniversary breakfast, which means it must be the 80s.
And like cereal? I don't know.
Yeah,
I loved the.
Well, I'm sure I wouldn't let that little kid use a freaking oven, and then who knows what would happen if Vicky used an oven?
Well, they didn't know what was happening because they were still. Well, he was reading his spreadsheets or whatever the fuck. I really enjoyed the throwback of the MS-DOS, the use of the MS-DOS.
Yeah, when he was typing the command prompts that were just words on the screen.
Yeah. I feel like any programmer watching this would just be like, no.
Yeah.
No.
I'm just going to walk into a lake right now. Bye.
Right. Okay, I don't really have a whole lot for this episode. Yeah.
The last thing I have, and we can move on, is that I wish our podcast had a live studio audience.
What if we just had a laugh track?
We should have one. That'd be pretty 80s of us.
We should have a laugh track. For sure.
That's all I got. Hey, but I do want to give a trigger warning before we start with your situation.
Oh, okay.
I want to give a trigger warning to all the conservatives who might have accidentally been listening to this and somehow not turned it off when we made fun of
J.K. Rowling.
USSR.
Oh.
And J.K. Rowling.
Yeah.
If you're to watch the next thing that we discuss, dear conservative listener, I'm going to give you a rainbow trigger warning because it has a lot of rainbows in it. And if that is something that makes you go red in your brain, you're not going to want to watch the wonderful show that we're about to discuss. Take it away, Ryan.
I'm confused by all the rainbows you think are in this, but okay.
You didn't notice all the rainbows?
I noticed the ones. See. Huh.
We can discuss offline. It's fine.
Okay. The Electric Grandmother was a 60-minute made-for-TV movie that premiered on January 17th, 1982. My first birthday. Yeah.
Yay! Happy birthday, Ryan!
Yeah. So
they made a freaky deaky after-school special for you.
This movie is fucking terrifying at some points. Like the beginning of it is absolutely fucking terrifying. It is based on a Ray Bradbury short story, which also has a fairly terrifying name called I Sing the Body Electric.
Inspired by Walt Whitman, I believe.
Good Lord,
that title.
So much. This.
I have a great Fahrenheit 451 anecdote to tell at some point as well.
There's going to be so many meta loops coming in this conversation. I just hope we hit them all. Yeah, so like that opening and the old dude and then the rocking chair just rocking by itself, like fucking terrifying.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
All right, so basically, if you haven't seen this, the premise is you have three young children, two boys, Tim and Tom, and their sister, not their daughter, their sister Agatha, who at the very beginning, at the very beginning of the movie, their mother dies. Not their mother has recently died, like she fucking dies. Like that's how they start the goddamn movie. And like, they're like, the doctor's coming and like, Richard Gilmore, Edward R. Herman is their dad. And they're like, I want to see mommy. And he's like, not now. And then it's like they're standing there and then she's dead. Like, we don't know how she died or what she died of or anything like that.
And he brought his little medical bag.
The doctor, and he couldn't even look at them. He's just like, and just walks away. So who knows how mommy died, why mommy died, whatever.
I want to back up. I want to back up just a moment because they used a lot of pathetic fallacy here. So as mommy is dying, they've got the rain coming down and they got Agatha looking out the window. And I think it's Tom is the old man. Tom is narrating. And he keeps saying it was me and Timothy and it was raining. And I just was like, look, who it be? It'd be me, and Timothy.
I was just getting poltergeist vibes from little girls staring out at the tree, scraping against the fucking window.
She had a lot of photos.
She did have a lot of photos of her mother, and they're all black and white, and they're all hid. So then that made me think, what year is it?
I literally wrote, what year is this? And underlined year. Because of everything that happens after this. I'm like, what is happening?
Yes. And so then they're at breakfast, maybe the next day. I don't know.
Drinking pints of milk. Did you notice how much milk?
No, my child drinks a lot of milk. So, but I love that their father says, we can't mope all the time. Their mother fucking died. Like, what do you mean that yes, they can mope? And then fucking bitch ass Aunt Clara shows up talking about gloomy faces. Their mother died. Mm-hmm. Like, what?
Yeah. I said, fuck off Aunt Clara with your judgy self. That's what I wrote.
I wrote
down.
Their mother died with exclamation points.
Yeah.
And then I wrote something down. I did. I wrote something down. I wrote down OMG's a house. Because I love that house. Like, that is so fucking, Americana nostalgia. Want to live in Vermont, but I hate that much cold. And then a helicopter appears out of nowhere. And they're very excited, like they've never seen a helicopter before. Like, what's this? What's this?
They haven't, because they live in the 1910s.
Yeah, like no other people show up in this movie. Like, there's literally 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 people in this movie. 3 kids and 4 adults. One of whom's supposed to be a robot. So the helicopter, and it drops 3 rainbow parachutes. So there's your first rainbows falling from the sky. Rain.
Thank you very much.
And each of them has their names written on whatever it is that drops. Tom puts them together. It's a heart that lights up and starts talking in this weird robot voice about, we're waiting for you, we're the electric grandmothers. What the fuck? Like,
I wrote, definitely going to do what an omniscient talking heart toy tells me to do.
Totally gonna do that. Yes.
100%. How passive is this dad? Where he's like, I guess we'll go. Okay, you asked me 5 times. That's enough time. So we'll go. I don't want to hear it anymore.
I never go to work. Like, I make one reference to being like a stockbroker. I don't know. Maybe he's on grieve leave. I don't know, or whatever that's called.
Grieve leave. You think they had that in the 1910s, 30s, 2010s, whatever this is set?
What is it called? Bereavement leave, right? I like grieve leave.
Yes.
Leave. Yeah. Go grieve.
I like that when they get to the warehouse, he's instantly like, I know I brought you here, but don't go anywhere. Like, don't go there. Don't do that. Definitely don't do that. It's like, you brought them there. What do you just supposed to look outside of it?
If I were in this situation and a helicopter showed up, and talked about come to our factory to get this thing, and then I showed up at the factories that they showed up at, I would also be like, I feel like my expectations would have been elevated by the helicopter. Like, if this business can own a helicopter, why is it in a fucking rundown abandoned warehouse with boarded up windows? Like, I would also be like, maybe this was a bad parenting move.
Bad idea genes happening right here.
So this is the point where I wrote fucking terrifying when they go into this factory of horrors.
And then they hear,
oh my God.
"Grandmother."
And then it's just like, it's like a really fucked up version of in Mary Poppins when they're like singing the song about what they want in a nanny. You right?
It's mixed with a bit of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory for sure.
Yes, which I'm pretty much convinced that the guy that owned the factory, the Futteruckers or whatever, the fettuccinis, Fibonacci's,
Fibonacci.
whatever. I'm pretty sure he was in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. I didn't look it up because I didn't care, but I think he was in one of the opening, like, here's a computer that can tell you exactly where to get the chocolate, whatever. But
did you enjoy the Pink Floyd eyeball
oh
kaleidoscope?
my God, no, I'm sorry, not as much as I enjoyed the Bog of Lost Souls from Beetlejuice. Like, I can't remember what it was called. Well, we're gonna, if you open this door and it's like the fucking Lost Souls thing from Beetlejuice, like, we know where you got that one.
Get a squishy one.
The shadows. Oh, they go so fast. Do you want a fat one? Do you want a thin one or a plump
so
one?
Fast. Yeah.
Yes, the kaleidoscope of eyes was creepy as hell. And then I thought, like, are all their grandparents actually dead too? Like, they don't have any neither of them have they don't have an actual grandmother.
Yeah, it's kind of weird because they lose a mom, but they get a grandma.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I mean, I guess it would be like too upsetting. You know, like grandmas you only love so much. I don't know. Right. And then
and also it takes away the potential creepy android sex, right? Yeah. So like if you get a robot mom and you have the dad still there, is he gonna fuck the mom? Like, but he's not gonna fuck the grandma.
Also, like he can't ever move on. Because imagine being like him going on a date with you, and then he brings you home to this like old woman robot that still lives with him after the kids are gone. Like,
but there are only 7 people in this universe, so he can't go on another date.
Alone forever. So at least
it's like a video game. It's not making any more characters. Like they're all just gonna die off.
I liked it when they get home. Aunt Agatha's like, "This is the last straw." Like, what were the other straws?
Oh yeah, Aunt Clara.
Oh yeah, Aunt Clara.
Bye, Aunt Clara.
I literally wrote, "Bye, bitch." And then the helicopter shows up again.
What's in the box? What's in the box?
Oh my God! It was everything not to text you that. I was like, no, save it, Ryan, save it. What did I buy? Like, there's
and what shows up, Ryan Davis? What
something
appears?
that I do not know how to spell. I discovered. I don't know how to spell sarcophagus.
Yeah, nothing says AI like a sarcophagus. Also, wondered at this point, is the electric grandma related to Emmy from Mannequin?
They meet and she's like, "That's cool. I'm taking that." Yeah, with Hyra.
They both from the Fibonacci factory.
Like, what the?
There were rainbows inside of the sarcophagus, because that's where I wrote, warn any conservative listeners, so many rainbows.
It was like hieroglyphs of their names, and then she even had like the face of so it was like probably accurate to some history of things that, oh my God, it's a lot of WTF written all over this notebook. So then they go in and she makes each of them a separate breakfast and
not an efficient robot.
Finger spout. Can we talk about the finger spout?
Finger milk.
It was finger hot chocolate, and then it was finger milk, and then it was finger orange juice, and then all of that's coming out of the same spout. Like,
yeah, if you've ever made coffee in a Keurig after someone else has made hot chocolate, you know that this whole finger spout is not a good situation.
Or if you've ever gotten water out of a fountain beverage machine from the like Sprite one where you push the little water button, like it's not. It taints it. That is tainted. Beverage.
Tainted finger milk.
Tainted finger beverage, whatever beverage. Oh, yeah, and like, why can't anyone remember Agatha's name? Why were they gaslighting her with not being able to remember her goddamn name?
100%, and Mr. Fibonacci was negging her all over the place with not being able to quote unquote remember her name.
Microaggression bullshit, like
100%.
And then Grandma couldn't remember her name. Well, no wonder she didn't like you, bitch. Like,
Hey, did you like how they washed the clothing in the sky?
God. Yeah, like that was very Pippi Longstocking, which is something we should add to the list if it's not on there.
There were also rainbows on the like thing that was like up in the air, the box kite or whatever.
The kite? It's called a kite.
It's a box kite.
The thing that was up in the air. The kite, Heather.
Can I tell you a phrase that Agatha didn't say, but I wish that she had?
Please.
So they're downstairs and it's, after dinner, which presumably was everybody got their own entree and some finger milk.
Yeah, why not? Finger milk. What if he got like whiskey after all that? So he
It would explain his passiveness. They're down there in the living room and Agatha's off by herself and it's like, Agatha, are you cold? And she shoots this look. I was like, my spite is keeping me warm.
Oh my God. Both of these girls, so both Vicky and her, like original Jenna Ortega Wednesday vibes from these girls with the braids and the lack of expression from robot Vicky. I liked when you got your memory, like a Facebook memory, it was a hot muffin. Like I wish that Facebook memories came inside of a warm muffin from grandma's pocket.
It comes out of some grandma's pocket. Yeah. I get that tissue off of there.
Yeah, there's a little wet thing. It's like, you must supposed to eat the muffin.
Don't eat the muffin.
And then
don't eat the muffin.
My kids don't like me. And then she's got to go plug herself in.
Yep.
Because she's electric, which made me wonder what impact she had on their electric bill that month that she was there.
There were a lot of assumptions that she was going to have like the right kind of
plug
wattage down there, the right voltage.
Yeah, like when because she was making those wah, wah, wah noise. I was like, is she going to blow a fuse?
So there's two scenes in the basement that I recall, and I don't remember which one happened with the big anecdote that we want to tell.
We forgot to do what did we remember before we started?
Oh, well, that's fine.
Okay. I didn't really remember much, honestly.
No, I didn't
except
either.
the story that I'm going to tell.
Okay. I will tell you the next note that I have here is kill the human, keep the robot.
Well,
because those boys definitely wanted to get rid of Agatha.
Yeah, they were like, fuck this bitch. Like, we want grandma with her pocket muffins and her
finger milk. Hey, I have a thoughtful question. You ready for it?
Yeah. Yeah, go for it.
Would it have been better to have and lose a real grandmother, or better to have a liquid squirting magic machine that never dies?
I don't know if you're gonna edit this out, but I am like dangerously close to peeing on myself. And I don't care if you do. I don't care if you do.
We have a friend who is working with AI right now, and I think I'm gonna text him that question. So he can put that over his laptop and think about that shit every day.
It's really interesting, like when she talks about how she like listens to everything they say and remembers it, and that's how she knows how to be who she is, right? Which is so fucking AI. Like that's what AI is. Just taking all the shit we've put on the internet and using that to scam us out of money.
Or tell us what we need,
or write papers like my students are doing now instead of actually doing their work.
Hey, how'd you like the permanent base on the moon?
Yeah, hold on, you're getting ahead of yourself. Yes.
How can I be ahead of myself? We don't even know what year this happened.
Oh, well, that's true. Speaking of which, since we don't know what year, and foreshadowing with that whole AI thing, and you were talking about the basement. So when she goes to power her stuff down, what is her little power down dance that she did? Like, it looked like one of those stupid TikTok dances my students are always trying to do in the hallways where they're like, with their arms and, and like,
I wrote down a word and I was like, what did I write that down? But now I remember I wrote down jazzercise. That is what she was doing in that basement.
If I were on TikTok, I would make an electric grandma TikTok day. We call this the electric grandma, y'all. And do that and see if I can get kids to start fucking, if we can make it like a craze.
Hey, listen, Gen Z, it's yours. Take it and run with it.
Oh my god. Oh yeah, when she's like, when Agatha's like, I'm afraid, they're like, what are you afraid of? Like, who doesn't know what you're afraid of? Like, grandma has to get hit by a car for everyone to be like, oh, you're still traumatized by the very recent death of your mother.
Yeah.
Our bad.
Everybody else was just so distracted by the magic milk lady that they didn't want to, they totally forgot about mom.
The literal human cow. And I don't know, like, to me, like, her being like, I can't die. I won't die. I'll never leave. Like, healthy, right? Like,
right. Yeah.
Yeah, like, she's like, yeah, you're like, don't be like my mom. You gotta leave and die like that fucking bitch did. Like, yeah.
No, that's what prompted better to have and lose a real grandmother, or better to have a liquid squirting magic machine. I mean, you lose people, it comes with grief and potentially trauma. Yeah. And you start to forget them, whereas if you have a creepy grandma robot who remembers everything you've ever said. I don't know, we're going to tell the story soon, but the story takes place on screen is one of the basement scenes, and then something happens in real life while we're watching this as children.
I can't remember which part of the movie. I made up a whole what part of the movie, which isn't even in the movie.
No, it was a basement scene. But that second one where Agatha sneaks down there and like tells her that she hates her or whatever, and then grandma like picks up the gramophone and then plays it back to her. I was like, that is a living nightmare. I would have unplugged that bitch so fast, shoved her in the furnace you got down there, been like, I don't know what happened to her. Mary Poppins flew away with the wind. Bye-bye.
Yes.
Like, that was so fucked up. So fucked up.
That was like, talk about like terrifying. This kid already has trauma and now she has more trauma. Now we have another instance of a young girl being habitually traumatized throughout an entire movie and everyone acting like it's fine.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, so here, are you ready for this?
Is this the anecdote, or is this are you telling the anecdote?
No, this is a question I wrote down just for you that I know you're gonna enjoy.
Because I also have a question for you that I think you'll enjoy. So just let me know before we get to anecdote, because I want to make sure I ask the question.
Yeah. Well, I want to say everything we have to say about this movie, and then we'll end with our anecdote.
Proceed.
Tomato.
Your kid's a jerk.
What an asshole. What the fuck? Too much bluey.
Please proceed.
I know.
Proceed.
Okay. Why did this movie make me cry?
Like today?
Yes.
Oh, honey.
Yeah. And I'm gonna cry a little bit now. I was like starting to tear up when she got hit by the car. I had her breakdown, and then like they all, oh my god, when they start running and they just each individually grow up while they were, oh my god, I was bawling.
You're bawling?
I was bawling.
Did you watch Touched by an Angel and not tell me? Because that was some Touched by an Angel shit right there.
I did watch it, like, wait, today or when I was younger?
Yeah, when you were younger.
Yeah, and I cried then too.
Yeah. Well, no, that's because that Irish lady said anything and you just start crying. So like, oh, the Lord of Love, Irish lady. Oh, the angels. And you just start crying. What? Can I tell you, though, there really was a beautiful line a beautiful line, which is how you know that Bradbury was a good writer.
Uh-huh.
When she's in this circle of only white grandmas, only white, like rocking away forever.
Still talking about her experiences.
Bitches do not shut up.
Fucking 80 years later.
She does say something, and it stuck with me at the time, and then I thought about it again today and actually made an extra note because I really wanted to call attention to it.
Okay.
There's sort of a lovely line where she says to one of the other grandmothers, I can't tell now, did I love them or was I just paying attention? I can't remember the difference.
Is there a difference between
is there a difference? And I was like, oh, that's beautiful. Like that.
Yeah.
That is very beautiful. And I think this whole thing, I mean, I think with a woman's touch with Agatha behind the scenes would have been helpful. And the whole soundtrack had to just go. That whole soundtrack
it was just one song.
A nightmare. No, but it was a nightmare song and it needed to go.
I think, I mean, if I can
get a thoughtful line.
So if I can get serious for a minute, I feel like I'm always the one that gets too real.
I'm gonna bring the lights down.
Are you gonna bring the lights down? So I can tell you why I cried, other than the fact that I'm just basically our mother. So like, you know, I started crying when they grew up, and then when old boy comes back and he's 80, and then I mean just the whole rest of the movie, I was just bawling for the rest of the movie, the last 5 minutes or whatever, 3 minutes. Yeah. And I think it's because do the mom thing. I'm trying to talk and not like cry, but I think it's because
she's gonna try to burp or talk her way through a burp. No, talk her way through a cry.
I'm gonna talk my way through a cry.
Oh, she's crying. She's covering her mouth, y'all.
As a parent,
breathe. Maybe breathe. As a parent, yeah.
I know, as an older parent, I know that I won't get to see everything.
Oh,
and that makes me sad. You know?
Aww.
Oh my God, I'm so mom.
Oh Lord.
You know, like you just, you know, like the reality is like, and with my health and, you know, just how much extra wear I've put on my body, I just worry, you know?
Yeah.
That I already know that I won't get to see everything. Because that's what it is, you know, like nobody does and you never know. And I wish he would be more of an asshole so I wouldn't like get so sad at the thought of, you know, missing
there's
out.
There's time. You could do it.
I know, God. Really,
you might make it to his middle ages and he's probably not going to be that interesting. You know, I mean, any cool stuff he's going to do, he's going to happen before then. So
yeah, no, and I know, and it's not like that. I feel like I'm going to die soon, you know, but it's just, you know, it's cool to watch. And, you know, obviously I don't believe in heaven, so I'm not going to be thinking that I'm going to watch from above. So, you know, but so so I think that really like touched on that like kind of emotional thing that I struggle with. Oh my God, Elaine Davis. So the funny way I was like Elaine Davis today, but basically I wrote a grocery list on the back of a junk mail envelope that I pulled out of the trash, and I wrote it with a pencil that had been sharpened with a knife, which is probably the most Elaine Davis thing I've ever done. Maybe I'll go try to write a check for over the amount later this week, just to really bring it home.
Where Elaine Davis got that action from, the knife sharpened pencil.
No, that was
on the back of an envelope. Oh, 100%. That was Margaret Gray right there.
Like, I mean, like, did pencil sharpeners exist when she was?
Can we please get a fact check on when did pencil sharpeners exist? Do you think they didn't exist in the 1980s when Grandma was still doing that shit?
Grandma was such a badass, and like everything else was so like labeled that like it didn't. You could find scissors in Grandma's house, you know. I will say that like you can always find a pair of scissors in my house. So Anyways.
Ladies and gentlemen who might be listening to the podcast, 32 of you now, maybe. Who knows?
32 followers. I don't know if they're all listening.
Correct. I had to hide pens in Ryan Davis's house so that when I come to visit, I can always find a pen.
Did you have pens on Elliot's windowsill?
Yes, I did. Would you like to hear a funny question?
What was the question related? For me? Yeah.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Did those children kill all of their families to get the electric grandmother back?
What? Yeah, he's like, husbands, wives, children, we outlived them all. Like, what?
Quote unquote, we outlived them, Grandma.
Why does death not face these people?
I don't know, but seriously, they were like gleeful, and it's like,
yeah,
they were like, how do we get her back? Okay, we grew up, and so we didn't need her anymore because we had our own families. Yeah. Okay, here's what we do. Kill everyone, and then we get her back, but we can't do it right away because it'll be too sneaky. So we got to like make a 20-year plan. Like, when are you going to kill yours? We should stagger it, like slowly, just killing their entire families
to get the electric grandmother back.
The electric grandmother.
Yeah.
The sarcophagus again.
Oh my God, this movie. It was an emotional roller coaster for me.
Evidently. Me, I was a little more even keel, but that is not surprising.
You tend to be. I mean, if one of us was going to ever be compared to a robot, it wouldn't be me. I'm not saying it's you, but it's not me. I also think I have called you that on many occasions.
Our mother's called me a robot. So many people call me a robot.
Yes, I know that
I don't understand. I have emotions.
You do have emotions. I've seen you have emotions.
As we discussed last week, I have the ability to pause before acting on them, and therefore, I perhaps seem more in control of my emotions than other people.
Icons 8 Music.
Thank you. That's it for this week's episode of I Love You, But. Join us next week when we discuss Blackadder and Are You Being Served? For now, we want to know your thoughts. Find us on Instagram at I Love You But Pod and on Twitter at I Love You Pod. What made you laugh? What made you cringe? What might have made you cry this week? What did we forget? What should we talk about in future episodes? Tell us on social. Be sure to watch us. Oh, and listen to us every week. Be sure to rate, review, and subscribe to I Love You But wherever you get your podcast. I'm not Heather. I'm Ryan.
And I'm Heather, and we send you lots of conditional love.
See you.